I have one light source in my kitchen. It's a couple of fluorescent bulbs and an overhead fixture, and it's pretty simple. Recently, these bulbs started getting dimmer, and gradually they were fading, and I didn't notice it until one night I was doing dishes in the kitchen, and I realized I was standing in a very dimly lit room, and it was very unpleasant. And I thought to myself, like, when did this happen? It's not just I wasn't paying attention in my kitchen, it's just that it happened so gradually that I didn't notice it until I was practically standing in the dark. This reminded me of a period in Jewish history, namely when we were slaves in Egypt. So why is that? We didn't start out as slaves. When we first went to Egypt, we had some nice pastures for our sheep and inexpensive housing, and life in general was pretty okay. The slavery itself didn't even start out as slavery. Our tradition teaches us that Pharaoh asked us to participate in like this big building project. Everyone was participating, even Pharaoh, and we, helped out. And it turns out that this was a trick that led to our enslavement. And the slavery kept getting more and more oppressive until it was just unbearable. And it kept getting worse until God sent Moses to take us out of Egypt. So what is the spiritual correlation here? In the Ethics of the Fathers, we learn that a mitzvah leads to another mitzvah, but a sin leads to another sin, unfortunately. It may seem kind of hard to understand how a person could keep sinning and not see that it's leading them in a bad direction. So how do we understand how this happens? It happens little by little. That's how. If a person sins the first time, they'll probably feel a little guilty. But if they commit that same sin a second time, the feeling of guilt will most likely not be as pronounced. And the Talmud teaches us that if a person continually commits the same sin, it will become permissible to them. What? This doesn't mean that the sin will actually become permissible. It just means that a person will rationalize their behavior and find a way to make something that was unacceptable acceptable to them. And this is how something that is bad can become a habit. It's not like people usually set out to, develop bad habits. It's just sometimes a series of small decisions can lead to a really big bad one. But don't worry, there's hope. Passover is almost here. And this is the perfect time of year to get rid of any unwanted bad spiritual habits that maybe have crept up on us. In the liturgy, Passover is known as the time of our freedom, and this time of year carries an extra kick to help us free ourselves from any unwanted bad habits. Just like we're cleaning out our actual cupboards, we can also go through our spiritual cupboards and see what's in there that maybe we want to get rid of. And what's the best way to do this? Studying Torah, because the Torah contains everything that we need to know about being truly free. So have a happy Passover, and here's to changing our spiritual light bulbs.